Well, welcome to what I hope will be a very interesting session. It'll be interesting in part because I'll do as little talking as possible. I'd just like to give a brief introduction to why I'm here and why AD Gaming is really the catalyst for an incredible development that has placed Abu Dhabi at the forefront of gaming, esports, and digital development that contrasts in very interesting ways from the development that we've enjoyed in film and television. Film and television, by its very nature, is regional and local. And it has evolved over time, driven very much by Netflix and the streamers, because a decade ago, people were willing to accept poor quality content for local authenticity, cultural authenticity. But once they got to see the quality of films and television that came out of other places like Korea and Latin America and elsewhere, no longer were they willing to compromise on the quality for that cultural authenticity. And slowly we evolved to the point that 2 Academy Awards, 2 BAFTAs, 12 Emmy Awards. Abu Dhabi is seen as the creative hub of the Arab-speaking world. But as Mohammed Al-Mubarak and His Highness Sheikh Khalid have said, while film and television has taken us to where we want to go, it's digital gaming and esports will take us, film and television has taken us to where we are today. It's digital gaming and esports will take us to where we want to go in the future. And so we don't look at and compare ourselves to other places in the region when it comes to the digital world. We look to places like Singapore as our peer and the aspirations for how we want to exist. And the people on this panel, including virtually, which also is another good indication of the world that we live in today, really span the entire ecosystem that we're trying to create. And so I think that what we will focus on today is how each of what the 4 of you do fits together to contribute to build a whole ecosystem. So with that, maybe Kreem, you want to begin and just talk a little bit about what you are doing, why you're doing it here, and what you hope to be doing in the future.
Of course. Thank you, Michael, for the introduction. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Karim Brahim. I'm the CEO of Robocon VR. Just a short brief of what Robocon VR does. We started our business in VR location-based entertainment, so specifically simulation. We were able to work our way up to become the only turnkey solution in VR location-based entertainment. We have a studio in-house, we do our software in-house, and we work with a lot of licenses such as Discovery Channel, Discovery Channel, Hasbro, and many more, Disney itself. After that, we got into the gaming scene in Abu Dhabi, and we are now opening in Q1 2022 at the largest gaming center in the Middle East, which is meant to churn out content. Let me define by what I mean churning out content. We have an event space, digitized event space, dedicated for gaming events and multi-purpose tech events. We have an esports academy center, certified esports academy center. We're going to be directly dealing with the publishers and developers to create the ecosystem and infrastructure, or to build the ecosystem and infrastructure to be able to give certified courses, let it be in content creation or 3D creation or anything that revolves around the ecosystem of gaming in general. We have a VR gaming center as well and a gaming diner. So all of these are supposed to complement the ecosystem and supposed to create content through broadcasting solutions and other content or media solutions as well. We are also expanding this location to stateside, so we're very proud to say that we're homegrown, and instead of having a concept that was built in the US and brought to Abu Dhabi, we were able to create a concept that was built in Abu Dhabi and is now being exported to the US. So we're very proud of that as well.
Thank you very much. And that's really very inspiring, because what we want to do is to do exactly what you just said, which is to create content here and bring it to the world rather than import it from elsewhere. James, you're up next. Thank you so much for being here. And again, if you could not only tell us a little about Network N, but also how it fits in with everything else that we're doing here to try to build the ecosystem, that would be very, very good. Thanks.
And thank you very much for having me today. And I realise how massive I look behind you, so I'll try not to be too intimidating or slightly odd looking down and pointing at G. So my name's James Binns, and I'm the co-founder of a media business called Network N. I'm about 30 years into games media, I live and breathe it. So we started Network N about 10 years ago, and we started with a global outlook on the first day. We were an independent business, but we decided we were going to think about the global stage all the time. Network N has about 120 people now. It's still independent. We do three things. We run an agency called Publisher Collective. We run an advertising network. So agency called Project 10, an advertising network called Publisher Collective, and a bunch of owned brands. The agency is interesting. It does like content production. So when people need help marketing and talking to gamers, they come to us. We work with people like Red Bull, Riot, EA, and Epic to help them with website builds and stuff like that. We run an ad network, and the ad network is great because it works with people all over the world to help them monetize their websites. So if people are passionate about their project, they're creating great content and they don't have to make money, we help them. And the third bit is our publishing business. And publishing is owned and operated brands. And that includes the number 2 PC game site in the world, PC Games N, and it includes the number 1 mobile gaming site in the world, Pocket Tactics. And for us, mobile is where we sort of see a lot of the activity in your region, where we know how strong mobile is, and working out ways to support that growth and be able to hold a mirror to local content and help players get more of what they love out of their games and also discover new ones is our trick.
Great, thank you. And you're joining us today from
Bath, England, where it's very early in the morning, and I was very sad not to make it out. I was super excited when I got the invitation to attend, and at the last minute there was a lot of flight panic with Omicron, and I was like, no, just can't quite do it. But I'm very much looking forward to coming next year.
Yeah, but that's what the new world makes possible, because the fact is, you're not only here virtually, but we're all virtually being seen around the world. And so this is the future. And so it's a shame that we couldn't be here to meet in person, but in fact, in terms of impact, it's no different than if you had been here. So thank you so much.
And much bigger than everyone else physically in the room. So I get that too.
Right, exactly. So now let me turn to G, who is one of the founders of Boss Bunny. Boss Bunny is another great local success story that is developing content here in the region and then taking it to the world. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Thanks, Michael.
And
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Geraint. Everybody calls me G because no one can say my first name because it's Welsh. First thing I want to say, it's amazing to see my old friend James Binns here, even though he is giant behind me. Me and James have been working in the games industry pretty much on similar things and together for over 25, 30 years now. As Michael mentioned, I'm the co-founder of Boss Bunny Games. We currently have offices in Dubai, and also we've opened a new office in Abu Dhabi, working really closely with our friends from 2454 and AD Gaming, who have been fantastic in the support they've given us there. One of the things I would say, the great things about working in the UAE in the region is the support we get from government and other organizations. It's very, very, very good, and we couldn't ask for more. Now, one of the things we're looking to do in Q1 of next year, we will be launching, we will be launching an accelerator in Abu Dhabi and Riyadh. We will be offering end-to-end support for people looking to get into the games industry. So we will be looking to individuals and groups to submit games to us, and then we will look to hopefully support them build those games. Again, in Abu Dhabi initially, we'll have office space, support, funding, and we will actually publish the games on the Boss Bunny platform as well. So that's a huge new initiative for us and for the region early next year. And I'm hoping we'll looking to get some of the first games out by end of Q2, Q3. But then I'm a producer. I always want something yesterday rather than tomorrow. That's just the way we are. The other thing we've done recently is we've launched, we've just completed the world's biggest ever game jam based in the UAE. With over 1,000 entries from 53 different countries, and we'll be announcing the winners for that at some point today. Very, very excited there as well. So Boss Bunny Games now is about creating new games. Our new game, Barak, based on Barak the chef, the famous Turkish chef. That launched a couple of weeks ago, and we're now pushing that now. Major marketing campaigns coming end of this year, moving into early next year. And we also have the Frege game, based on the fantastically successful cartoon series from Lamtara. That will be launching next year, Q1 soft launch, Q2 full launch, and that should be an absolutely fantastic launch. Great game, fantastic properties of amazing characters, loved across the whole region as well. And then we have more games that we'll be announcing very, very soon. But I think for now, that's it from me.
Okay, thanks. Last but certainly not least is Haya Al-Qadi, who represents one of the most dynamic companies based in Dubai in the region, Galaxy Racer. Recently acquired Team Nigma, and I think just at the beginning of its explosive growth plans. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing and where you're headed.
Sure, thank you. My name is Haya Al-Qadi. I'm the Global Marketing Manager of Galaxy Racer. Galaxy Racer was founded in 2019. What started off with the first female League of Legends roster in the MENA region due to the lack of representation, and knowing that there are so many possibilities when it comes to female gamers, we decided to acquire and bring together the first female League of Legends team. From then on, we have now 11 teams across 12 game titles, and we've managed to amass 500 million following across the globe. And as Mike has said, we've recently acquired Team Nigma. They are under Nigma Galaxy, our new competitive division. We have a record label, we have content creators all around the globe, and soon we will expand to North America. And the beauty of coming from the UAE and representing all these amazing players that we have in the United Arab Emirates and acquiring Team Nigma, joining forces, bringing our know-how in terms of the marketing, in terms of our knowledge, and bringing in Team Nigma, who are well known in the Dota 2, and coming together, really improving the competitive roster and the content creation, bringing it together, creating so much opportunities. And for example, our recent partnership with La Liga, where we are going to send 15 of our creators to La Liga to explore the Spanish football and the heritage, is one of the many partnerships that will help bring UAE and Dubai as a hub of entertainment.
Thank you so much. So now that we've gotten the preliminaries out of the way, let's get to the meat of the conversation.
Yeah.
We live and work in a part of the world that is not noted for entrepreneurship. Often governments talk a good game about entrepreneurship, but they end up competing and crowding out entrepreneurs. This is also a culture that is unforgiving for failure. And in an innovative economy, if you're not taking creative risks, you're never going to achieve creative success. So you're meeting a group of trailblazers who are really leading our world into the future, not only economically, but helping to change the culture of creativity and innovation and these are big challenges beyond the basic challenge of building and any new business, regardless of where it is and what it is. So perhaps I'll start with James. If you can talk about your experience in working in this part of the world, what you saw as obstacles that you had to overcome, what you think still needs to be changed and improved, because clearly we all have a common interest in making this a place where everybody can succeed, and we want to remove whatever impediments remain and obstacles and challenges in doing that.
I don't have enough track record in the region, and I'll tell you why that's hard. And maybe this exists. I feel some days I don't know the rule set. You know, we're from gaming, right? And being able to tap a set of rules for the game, you know, a set of guardrails that you're operating inside, a set of things that are acceptable in the game chat, you know, when you're talking to people, and also how you win. I think that I don't know why, but I sort of worry about failure. I worry about indiscretion as well. I worry that I'm going to use the wrong language. I worry that about the subtleties of local taste. And I think, you know, I think probably we would move much faster, and I would worry a lot less if I felt that there was at least some informal set of guidelines. And it doesn't mean these are the absolute unbreakable rules. It's just these are the things that will get you moving without any waves. And you know, and I think these are important emotional things because, you know, we know the rules in America. Yeah, we know not to talk about politics anywhere on the internet, on Reddit or anywhere. You know, we know that. And if you look at Cancellation America, you can see that there are lots of cultural rules that are easy to understand. I think that would be the biggest thing that would help us. Yeah.
Thank you. Very helpful. Kreem?
Well, of course, Michael, there's many challenges here in the Middle East in general, but such Abu Dhabi, such as yourselves and 2454 and other entities are trying to adapt to the situation and grow further the economy or the creative economy in general. Now, let it be the infrastructure or the skill sets needed for proper staffing. I don't look at it as a challenge, more of an opportunity. You know, Silicon Valley wasn't always Silicon Valley, or and right now, if you look at our phone and you just open up the phone, 95% of what you use is based from one singular city. They had a vision. They were powered by ambition and, of course, tech, the same way that Abu Dhabi or the UAE in general is powered by innovation and ambition. And I'll just give you an example. You know, I speak to my friends that live in New York or London and how they reacted to the pandemic versus how we reacted to the pandemic, and we barely even felt it here. So it shows you the innovation and ambition that the country like the UAE has, and it allows countries like us it allows us the platform to dream. And when you give someone the platform to dream, you can excel at a very fast rate. And I never look at something as a challenge, more of an opportunity. So for any creative person or anyone who has an idea, I think this is the perfect petri dish to come and experiment and try to grow from here.
Great. Haya?
I believe that because the market is expanding super quickly, and by the time people understood what esports was, and esports does not necessarily mean gaming. Gaming makes up a bigger component than esports. When we're talking about esports, it's competitive teams. And by the time people started to understand and value esports, now you have talks about NFTs, and then you have talks about the metaverse. So it's really trying to catch up and fully understand how it's an integrated ecosystem that you're bringing in music, fashion, lifestyle, the content creation, social media, publishers. Everyone is slowly trying to come in together, and with that means you have to have the giants speaking to each other. So I believe believe, as you said, there are a lot of opportunities, but it's going to take a while for everyone to fully understand and accept this concept that it's all interconnected. And right now, it's very fragmented, and I'm glad there are so many institutions and there are programs and academies that are supporting all this growth, but it's going to take a while till we fully integrate and become interconnected.
Thanks. G?
Hey, thanks, Michael. Yeah, I mean, I would say the support for entrepreneurship is changing. And as I mentioned earlier, the support we're getting from places like the Abu Dhabi government, AD24, AD Gaming, and 2454. That's a new company I just made up. But one of the most interesting things here, one of the biggest challenges is recruiting staff, especially developers.
Can you say a little louder?
Yeah, sure. Is that better? So one of the biggest challenges here is staff recruitment, recruiting developers, artists, designers. And this is one of the reasons that we feel that the accelerator will really help in a major way, because we'll help train those people and actually help them launch games. But actually finding the right people, I think it's in some ways it's a bit of a cultural thing. It's new to the region, these kind of opportunities and these kind of careers. So I think maybe parents don't see that there is a real career in gaming development or gaming design in the region. Of course, parents around the world, globally, you know, they would like their children to be doctors or accountants, but actually it's quite interesting. If you look at the salary scales, a game designer or a game developer can make more than a doctor or an accountant, sometimes a lot more. And it's a very secure career, and games now generates more revenue than all other entertainments combined globally. So that includes theatre, cinema, TV, streaming services. They make more money than all of those combined. So games is definitely, I think you could have said in the 80s, is it maybe a bit of a fad? But games is a very stable and future-proofed entertainment platform now. So it's a major opportunity for people to come into. So I think finding the right staff is interesting, working with people. And then it's also working and finding the people with the right skill sets. So I know places like the SAE University, and other organizations in the UAE now. Zayed University, for example, we're working with them in Abu Dhabi, and we've created a program, even to develop a game there with some of the students. But I think it's also making sure the students have the right courses and they understand what they need in order to move into this region. I think having talent is fantastic, but it's also understanding how the business works. The games industry is quite cutthroat. Basically, you're only as good as your last game. And I think it's getting people to understand, especially when they're starting out, don't expect to make the next FIFA or the next PUBG. No, start small, learn to understand the business. How does advertising work in games? How do I generate revenue? How do I market my game, and who do I market to? And then a major the thing that people need to work out as well. Most games nowadays are in-life. They require in-life support, in-life development. So what happens after I launch my game? Is that it? Normally not. You have to support your game. If your game is successful, you need to create new levels and new services for your game. So there's all of these things and this whole program and understanding of games. And I don't think it's an issue here. I think it's just, as we were saying, it's an opportunity. And it's getting people to understand this is what they need and understand that games is a business. People often say to me, oh, you make games all day. You must just play games. You're having fun. Games is hard work. Making games is hard work. I can look at some of the developers here who developed the Barak game for me. Ask those guys about how many hours they work in a day to create a fantastic game. So games is hard work, but it is fun. As I said, we just ran the game jam, and one of the things I said to everybody over these 1,000 plus entrants is have fun. If you can't have fun making games, you're in the wrong industry. But then also understand it is hard work, but it should be fun. You should have a passion for what you're doing. So I wouldn't say there's major issues here. As I said, I think the entrepreneurial thing is being addressed by people such as yourselves and the people in Abu Dhabi and elsewhere. But I think it's just a matter of understanding the industry and how huge it is, and also how many opportunities. We mentioned an ecosystem here. I know on Yas Island, 2454 are developing this huge platform. And it's not just games, it's lighting, it's film, it's sound, and bringing all of these things together, bringing iGaming, bringing the competitions together. I know there's a brand new esports stadium now on Yas Island as well. So all of these things are coming together into one big I don't often like the word, but it's the only word, into this great ecosystem. But it will take time and it will take a lot of hard work to get right.
Thanks, G. This is not to do with gaming, but G said one thing that I have really not only lived my own life by, but have really tried to instill in others. I'd just like to repeat and underscore. He said that if you're not having fun building games, you're in the wrong job. I would say if you're not having fun in your job, you're in the wrong job. And that we see too many people who are in jobs for the wrong reason. And I think I would encourage everybody to just take a step back, think about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and asking if their professional goals and their life goals are in sync. And if not, they have a lot to think about. And sorry for the digression, but I think you touched on a very important point.
I think it's true. I think life is short. Do what you want to do. The last few years, a lot of people have realized that they have options, they have opportunities. They don't have to stick in the job they're going for. Right. Games. You have to have a passion for games. You have to love games, and it will give you a career, a lifelong career.
Right. Now, the next topic I'd like to explore with all of you is because you're all building businesses, and growing businesses really have two scarce resources. One is financial capital, and the other is human capital. And clearly, in building an ecosystem, as G touched on, having dedicated but also competent employees is key to success. We're very lucky to have unity here because for those, I'm sure everybody in the room knows this, but for those watching around the world, if you turn on your computer, it's powered either by Apple or Microsoft. If you make a call, it's either on an Android phone or an iOS device. But something like, well, certainly over 90% of all the technology behind games and virtual reality are driven by Unity. And by Unity coming here to Abu Dhabi, but using Abu Dhabi as a base for not only the UAE, but Saudi and the rest of the MENA region, and all of Africa down to Cape Town. We've already integrated the Unity curriculum in both our elementary and high schools, our universities, and our postgraduate programs across the UAE. Their hackathons, all of their certification programs. We have a great development program, but this is still creating people who's be ready for prime time in the future, maybe in the near future, but in the future. So how do you deal with the challenge in the remaining 12 minutes that we have in finding the talent necessary to keep your companies operating and growing until our local talent is ready to step up and really participate even more than they are today? You know, this is, I'm very impressed by how many Emiratis are doing successful things in this sector. But to me, this is only a preview of coming attractions. This is going to be a great future for jobs. We had this challenge with the film and television business. It wasn't the kids that we needed to convince, it was their parents that this was a legitimate business. But I think the difference between gaming and film and television is when the parents saw the films and television programs that their kids made, a light bulb went off. The parents are not gamers. So how do they appreciate what you said about the fact that this is a career that they'll be proud to see their sons and daughters follow? So why don't we start with Haya this time?
When I told my mom that I wanted to become a gamer, obviously, it's like, no, of course not, you know. that's out of the question. So, you know what? I didn't pursue gaming. I instead studied marketing. And then at the back of my mind, I always said, no, I really wanted to be in the business side of esports. Because esports is not necessarily just becoming a gamer. You could be a caster, you could do sponsorship. There's a lot that goes behind it. It's a whole ecosystem. So surely esports started picking up, and then people, you know, the flashy prize pool of $30 million or $1 million, and parents are like, okay, there's something going on. And when esports scene started picking up here and in Saudi, some parents started to realize, okay, I'm going to relax and let my child play, and hopefully they could become an athlete. And even today, now my mom has a different view of gaming. She's actually happy. She pushed me now to become a streamer. She's like, oh, why don't you stream? This person is streaming. And the irony, but it's the truth, because it's becoming so popular, because brands are starting to pour in money, because the government entities are really supporting gaming developers, publishers, and building these institutes, families and parents and everyone are, it's something it's hard to ignore. You can't ignore it. It's everywhere you see. And kids are opening their YouTube, watching streamers. You really, again, it's really hard to ignore. And that positive perception now has allowed mothers and fathers and families. And one more thing, actually. We have a content creator that's a mother. She's part of our roster. We understood that even the mothers she is a great role model to speak to other family members. And she released a book recently. Her name is Anne Fish. She goes by the gamer tag Mama Benji. She's the mother of the greatest Fortnite player in the world, Benji Fishy. And she released a book talking about how to really raise your child and create this positive balance and treat this as a career, but also know the risks that you're going to take. And so slowly we're starting to see there's education and there's a lot of positive sentiment that goes behind it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. James, when you tell your friends in the UK what you do, what do they think about it?
When I started out, it wasn't cool. And they said, you've got your degree and you're just going to go and play games for a job. My first job was reviewing.
Can you turn up the volume? I can't hear James.
Oh, hang on.
No, it's at this end, James. Okay, sorry, go on.
Oh, is this thing on? Hi. When I first got my job in gaming, it wasn't cool back then. And people wondered what I was doing. They go, you've got your degree in economics and you're going to go off and play video games. And it was curious. But now the industry is so built out. And what's cool about Unity is it gives liquidity of a marketplace where you can go, a Unity developer, Boss Bunny can recruit a Unity developer who's worked at hundreds of different companies, thousands of different companies. And it gives that sort of like single layer. And what's interesting in terms of presenting the discipline of gaming in industry, you know that you can hire a finance professional in the industry, and there's a layer of skills that they'll have, a human relations professional, an analyst, there's all these, a marketeer, there's all these disciplines where we have paperwork to explain. And Unity and also Unreal Engine give that. So I think, in a way, it's presented. I think one of the things the region should consider is how it presents the range of jobs at game studios as well, because all the excitement is at the sort of the cutting edge, the pickaxes. The drills making the game, touching the code, but there's honor in all the jobs in gaming, and to the point about, you can be a streamer, you can be a marketeer, you can be a designer, you can, you could work in gaming and only design trees for your entire career and make the best trees. You could only design cars, and you wouldn't be about gaming mechanics or Unity. So in a way, I think there's honor in all the jobs, and making that clear to people will really open up the floodgates.
Thank you. Krim?
Well, Michael, just like Haya said, when I told my mom I was going to open a gaming company, she also disapproved in the beginning. But after she saw the results and the positive effects we were able to have on our community, of course, she supported it. We're originally a Lebanese company. We only started out with a couple of people. We're a staff of 77 people now, and we grew in Beirut. It was a tough time, and we were able to provide jobs and give back to the community. And that in itself is one of the positive effects that gaming can have. At the end of the day, just like the movie business and just like any other creative industry, it requires artists, it requires giving back, it requires communication, it requires a multitude of things which I think add positivity to the environment in general. You know, it's not rigid. You need to think outside the box. So for that reason, to answer also your question on the infrastructure or the skill set needed, Unity coming to the region is a big move for everyone. That is part of the major reasons we decided to reallocate to Abu Dhabi 2454. It's because eventually, on the span of enough time, you have people that are willing to learn. You know, you have people that wanna enhance their skills, and with the proper infrastructure and proper companies like Unity being here, it's only a matter of time until we reach that level where we need to reach and we're able to compete on international standard. Definitely.
Okay, thanks. So to go to your original question in terms of funding, and funding is hard. Funding in gaming is hard. I would say it's maybe a little harder in the region here as opposed to places like Europe and North America. It's just because it's the need to understand the business model, the need to understand how things work. Some games fail. You could spend a lot of money on a game and it may not succeed. For many, many reasons, sometimes completely unknown. So funding here is hard, and sometimes you have to do other things to keep the lights on. We have been incredibly fortunate at Bani Games. Recently, a fantastic company from the US called Waysun purchased 60% equity in Bani, and I can see the CEO up there, Ali. Hello, Ali. So I'm on my best behaviour, of course. We've got a fantastic support now that gives us great development support, great marketing support, and essentially funding. So funding is hard sometimes in gaming, and you will often read this company gets 100 million, this company gets 200 million, but there are a lot of smaller companies looking for smaller investment, and it's hard for them to get. But it's getting better here, and again, I'm hoping from the accelerator, I know I've been mentioning it a few times here, I'm hoping with us being able to help provide funding and support and mentoring, we can help smaller companies start, especially in the region. The other thing, mentioning Unity. Unity are a partner of ours. Everything from starting, they give Bani free Unity software. In the recent Game Jam, they supplied training and mentoring sessions for the Game Jam members, and also they will be part of the accelerator and the work that we do with AD Gaming and 2454 in Abu Dhabi. Unity have come at this with a fantastic and the right attitude to me. It's offering people, it's giving them the opportunity to learn about the software. And James mentioned again Unity. The thing is with Unity, you can pick it up as a game developer, as a novice developer, and everything there is wrapped in a package, all of the assets and everything else that you can make a game. The Game Jam that we just did, you had 50 hours to make a game. You could only use Unity. And we got some amazing submissions through that. So yeah, so funding is hard to get. Part of the, again, I mentioned it, part of the business of gaming is hard, and you've got to sometimes do stuff to keep the lights on. You won't make your FIFA or PUBG straight away, and you may have to do stuff to learn to get there. But it's well worth the ride. And as I said, have fun. And as Michael said, if you're not having fun in life anyway, what are you doing? Are you doing the right thing?
Thank you very much. Well, we've come to the end of the session. I hope you found it worthwhile. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I think we're very lucky to have the four panelists that joined us. James, thank you very much for being here from the UK. G, Haya, Amal. So, Kareem, so please feel free to reach out to any of us, because every single one of us is here not only to build our own organizations, but to help this ecosystem grow and develop. It's very interconnected. James joining us is just another example of how interconnected the world really is. So all of us are here to help and to engage with you guys. So feel free to reach out whenever the occasion arises. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.